Welcome back to SYCL360. This is our fourth podcast, and we hope the information you gather through watching these is useful. This podcast has three sections. First, Nicole Corpy-Steiner will be talking about cycle-related activities that were held at this year's AACC annual meeting in Atlanta. The second podcast is a clinical case about forensic toxicology from the journal Clinical Chemistry, presented by Kaylin Olson. The third and final section is by Mohammed Al-Ghul. Mohammed will be discussing the AACC Specialized Scientific Divisions. We hope to focus on one division in each of the following podcasts in order to introduce SYCL members to what these divisions are and how they can benefit you as a member of SYCL. This section will focus on the Molecular Pathology Division. We hope you enjoy this podcast. Please remember that SYCL360 can now be found on iTunes and YouTube. Also, feel free to email the SYCL Committee or SYCL360 Subcommittee to let us know if you have any suggestions for future content in podcasts. Thank you again.
Hello, welcome back to SYCL360's podcast. Well, we had another exciting adventure at this year's annual AACC meeting held in Atlanta, Georgia, and today we would like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank the many individuals involved in the preparation and execution of sessions developed in cooperation with SYCL, as well as take you on a pictorial recap highlighting many of the influential as well as entertaining interactions that took place at these events. Briefly, before perusing our photo gallery, we should talk a little shop. Of course, I'm referring to the outstanding SYCL workshop presented at this year's AACC meeting regarding skills and tools for developing a productive research program. This workshop had an exceptional turnout from young laboratorians to seasoned veterans. Discussions included research basics such as where's the money, as well as tips and tricks to publishing your research as well as mentoring. Presentations were led by individuals well established in the field of clinical chemistry, followed by roundtable discussions between the speakers and attendees. Dr. Ann Gronowski, president of AACC, also joined in the mentoring opportunity, sharing her expertise at one of the roundtables. We would like to thank all members that participated and helped make this event successful. A different type of roundtable occurred immediately following the SYCL workshop, which included mixing it up with friends and colleagues, and maybe a mixed drink too, at the SYCL workshop mixer. This event was a great opportunity for networking and interfacing connections that did not require IT support, which was enjoyed by all in the fun and relaxing atmosphere. Even though there was no red carpet here, there were swirling displays of laughter on the floor and true bonding experiences for many SYCL and AACC members. The Van Slyke Foundation, with generous contributions from Genzyme, again sponsored a forum for students to present their research findings at the 2011 meeting. 4 excellent scientific abstracts were selected for oral abstract presentations, as well as numerous students presented their research findings at this year's Student Poster Forum. This event was an impressive demonstration of the diverse and cutting-edge clinical investigations conducted by our SYCL members, as well as provided a great way for young laboratorians to learn from one another's projects and network with colleagues. Following the student oral and poster presentations, we had the opportunity to recognize several individuals for their outstanding accomplishments, including the 4 selected oral abstract presenters, the 4 student poster contest winners, the 5 recipients of domestic travel grants funded through generous support from SYCL and the Van Slyke Foundation, as well as several students who were awarded student travel grants to facilitate their attendance to this year's meeting. These awards and travel grants are very competitive, so congratulations to each of these deserving individuals. We were also pleased to acknowledge individuals with exceptional contributions to the field of clinical chemistry through service to AACC and SYCL, including this year's SYCL Service Award recipient, Dr. Carmen Wiley, as well as our very first SYCL Mentorship Award recipient, Dr. Ann Gronowski. Congratulations to both Carmen and Ann, for your mentorship and service has been truly admirable. We would further like to extend recognition to the following individuals who have earned the status of diplomate in the past year: Congratulations, all of your training and hard work has paid off, and it is now time to celebrate. And celebration was easy to do following the award ceremony at this year's joint AACC SYCL reception. Participation at the reception was exceptional, providing a fun atmosphere with exciting networking opportunities. This event was a highlight for many SYCL members, and we hope that you will join us for more fun at next year's AACC meeting in Los Angeles.
In this section of the podcast, a published clinical case study from Clinical Chemistry Journal will be discussed. This forensic toxicology article explores the commonly encountered issue of the acceptability of varying technologies through a real case where the expertise of a clinical chemist helped influence the outcome. This case began with the discovery of a 46-year-old woman in the remains of a house fire. The deceased's autopsy revealed soot in the nose, mouth, trachea, and bronchi, consistent with the breathing of smoke from the fire. An injury to the back of the head was also revealed. The carbon monoxide concentration was 61.4% as measured by 6-wavelength co-oximetry. Upon questioning by the police, the husband of the deceased woman admitted that the couple had had a fight, which resulted in the husband shoving his wife, with the unintentional consequence of the victim hitting her head as she fell. Believing his wife to be dead, the husband set the fire in an attempt to cover up her death. To support the soot findings, the prosecution's case for convicting the husband of murder relied on the carboxyhemoglobin concentration to prove that the victim was breathing during the fire. However, the defense team argued that the CO result was invalid based on previous research that showed co-oximetry was invalid for postmortem specimens. Exogenous carbon monoxide is a byproduct of the incomplete combustion of hydrocarbons, while a small amount of CO is also produced naturally in the body. Exogenous CO has many sources, and poisoning often goes unnoticed due to the gas's lack of taste or odor. The pathogenesis of CO poisoning is the high affinity between CO and hemoglobin compared to oxygen and hemoglobin. CO binding prevents hemoglobin from acquiring carbon dioxide from tissues for removal and stabilizes oxygen molecules bound to the same hemoglobin protein, preventing their release to tissues. This results in tissue hypoxia, especially in vital organs that require a large amount of oxygen to properly function. This is reflected in a shift of the oxygen dissociation curve to the left. The heart is also susceptible to the binding of CO to myoglobin, where it impairs the supply of oxygen to mitochondria. The typical level seen in non-smokers is up to 2% carboxyhemoglobin, with slightly higher levels seen in smokers. The symptoms of early carbon monoxide poisoning are very nonspecific, including fatigue and headache. Toxicity is generally defined as greater than 20% and lethality at greater than 50%. However, short exposures to high CO concentrations, even greater than those typically associated with death, are often more survivable than exposures to more moderate concentrations over a prolonged period of time. CO poisoning is treated immediately with 100% oxygen or hyperbaric oxygen to reduce the 300-minute half-life of carboxyhemoglobin to 30 to 90 minutes. The declining health of the elderly, increased vulnerability of an infant, coronary artery disease, and respiratory insufficiency such as from COPD can cause death at carboxyhemoglobin concentrations less than 50%. Victims caught in fires may have increased methemoglobin concentrations caused by the inhalation of nitrogen oxides produced by burning plastics. Spectrophotometers and gas chromatography each have advantages and disadvantages for use in measuring carboxyhemoglobin. Spectrophotometry or co-oximetry is commonly chosen due to ease of use and simultaneous measurement of multiple forms of hemoglobin. Co-oximeters have been criticized in the past for being vulnerable to interference by lipids or postmortem putrefaction or alternate forms of hemoglobin such as methemoglobin and sulfhemoglobin. However, modern co-oximeters have additional wavelengths that can measure and correct for these interferences. Specimens can also be pre-treated with sodium dithionite to reduce oxy and methemoglobin or filtered to remove lipids. Without pretreatment, even gas chromatography can be affected by some of these interference. Based on the current case that questioned the validity of postmortem carboxyhemoglobin measurement by co-oximetry, A study was undertaken to compare co-oximetry to the more established UV spectrophotometry method. Heart blood specimens were obtained from 16 medical examiner cases that had CO poisoning or smoke inhalation as the cause of death. Specimens were pre-treated with sodium dithionite and carboxyhemoglobin measured by both co-oximetry and UV spectrophotometry. The CO hemoglobin concentrations range from 21 to 83% with a postmortem interval of up to 25.5 hours. Deming regression analysis of carboxyhemoglobin data obtained by both co-oximetry and UV spectrophotometry demonstrated an excellent correlation, with a correlation coefficient of 0.983. Bland-Altman bias plot analysis also supported this conclusion. Neither the postmortem interval nor evidence of body decomposition, both of which are known to increase methemoglobin concentration, affected the correlation of the co-oximeter and spectrophotometer results. These results demonstrate that the measurement of carboxyhemoglobin by co-oximetry with an appropriate number of wavelengths can be a valid and accurate method to assess carbon monoxide in postmortem blood specimens obtained in forensic toxicology cases. The cause of death in the case described was ruled as asphyxiation due to smoke, with compromised breathing in the setting of the injury probably contributing to death from CO poisoning. A clinical chemist testified as an expert witness regarding the data obtained in the current study and others using more modern co-oximeters. The carboxyhemoglobin results were ruled admissible, and the husband was convicted of murder and is currently serving his sentence in prison.
In this section of the podcast, we will be discussing AACC specialized scientific divisions to give SYCL members the opportunity to learn about them. Divisions are specialized interest groups within AACC that provide education and networking opportunities for their members. They further the association's vision by advancing the practice and profession of clinical laboratory science and its application to healthcare. You must be an AACC member to join a division. There are 14 divisions that serve to provide networking opportunities to their members. Some also provide newsletter covering the division activities as well as important educational and regulatory information. Some divisions also provide a listserv for their members to get their questions answered by experts in the area. In addition, divisions can provide receptions at the annual meeting for networking and collaborations between members. They also recognize outstanding accomplishments through awards and certificates. This SYCL360 podcast and future podcasts will focus on different divisions within AACC so you can become more familiar with their activities. In this podcast, we will be focusing on the molecular pathology division. We asked Dr. John Howe, the current chair for the molecular pathology division, to provide us with a brief summary of the division, the division's goals for the upcoming year, and a list of some of the division's activities along with reasons why SYCL members should join the molecular pathology division. Dr. Howe points out that the molecular division promotes education, science, and consults on regulatory issues in the field of molecular diagnostics. The Molecular Pathology Division was the recipient of the 2011 AACC Division's Achievement Award for advancing laboratory practice. As stated in a letter from the current president of AACC, Dr. Ann Gronowski, the Molecular Pathology Division is recognized for expanding its educational initiatives to inform laboratory professionals about the skills and knowledge required to perform molecular testing in the clinical laboratory. These efforts include the comprehensive online molecular pathology certificate program launched last year, support of the AACC course Molecular Pathology Essentials, developed in conjunction with the Association of Molecular Pathology, support of speakers at the International Federation of Clinical Chemistry Santorini Conference held in Greece last fall, and support presentation of scientific sessions at the AACC annual meeting. Some of the major division goals to develop the AACC Advanced Molecular Pharmacogenetics Certificate programs to begin in the fall of 2012. Also, to co-sponsorship of molecular pathology, principles and clinical practice developed jointly by the AACC and Association of Molecular Pathology that will be held in Chicago, Illinois. Another molecular pathology division goal is to co-develop and co-sponsor validation and translational of novel biomarkers into clinical practice, a multidisciplinary approach. This program will be developed by the following AACC divisions: Clinical and Diagnostic Immunology, Clinical Translational Science, Molecular Pathology, and Proteomics, with collaboration from the Clinical Proteomics Technologies for Cancer Initiative at the National Cancer Institute. In addition to the many scientific symposia and workshops that were developed and presented at the 2011 AACC meeting, the Molecular Pathology Division provides 3 merit awards for outstanding abstracts. These have significant cash awards for up to $1,000. The Molecular Division also co-hosted the joint reception with the industry, Pediatric and Maternal Fetal, and Clinical Translational Science Division during the 2011 AACC annual meeting in Atlanta. The division developed the Fundamentals of Molecular Pathology certificate program, which began in the fall of 2010. The program is composed of 9 lectures given by division members who are experts in their respective fields. The lectures covers the breadth of the molecular diagnostics field. They also produce quarterly newsletter as means of communications with the division members. So why should SYCL members join the Molecular Pathology Division? The division is a productive division as demonstrated by it receiving AACC's Division Achievement Award. Molecular pathology will have a significant impact on medical care in the future, and being a member helps the division to educate AACC about this important area and to recognize innovative research in the field. Molecular Pathology Division will be introducing more innovative ways to communicate with the membership, which may be more interesting to their younger members, such as a blog and digital newsletter. The division would like to get SYCL members involved with this activity. In addition, the division provides plenty of opportunities for networking and collaboration with field experts, providing educational and regulatory information and opportunities for award and travel grants. To join is very simple. Fill out a membership application by going to the website listed here. There are opportunities to join any of the division within the AACC for a nominal fee. Here is a snapshot of the application listing the specialized division along with the number of members in parentheses. Thank you.